Hey guys, it's Yoki here with some project cars, and today I've got the ESL Go4 PC Cup February final round 2 for you. If you haven't seen round 1, please click on the annotation on the screen here and it'll take you straight to that first race. But for round 2, please continue with the video and we shall jump straight in with the results for qualifying. We're going to be racing at Brno today. And on pole position we have SDL Khaki once again with a 2 minute 5 seconds .975. BAM Tuscan once again came up in second with a 2:06.129. SDL Mangator in third with a 2 minute 6 seconds .349. SDL Johan was 1.2 seconds down with a 2 minute 7 seconds .214. In fifth was the Prophecy with a 2 minute 7 seconds .714. And then in sixth position was Diego with a 2 minute 09.875. Okay, so here we go with race 2 then. Will BAM Tuscan be able to take the fight to Khaki and take the win for this race to make it a points tie at the end of this final? Here are the 5 lights. They've just gone green now, so we're jumping into the spectator cam and try and pick up the guys as they run down towards turn 1. Picking up Diego's in 6th position. It looks like a couple of guys are getting relatively close. I believe Khaki is still holding first with BAM Tuscan in 2nd. We're going to follow Prophecy through for the moment. You can see the guys making their way through turn 1 here at Brno now. A couple of the guys getting fairly close to each other. Coming through, Mangator is currently in 4th position, dropping down from 3rd. He's now just eked out just in front of, I believe, Johan to pick up 3rd position now as Khaki is still holding the lead as we come down in towards turn 3. Tuscan is just behind him and trying to apply the pressure at the fairly early stages, but it looks like the two teammates, SDL Johan and SDL Mangator, are going side by side through turn 4. Just taking a quick look at Tuscan in 2nd. Johan is currently holding 3rd with Mangator on his outside, and I believe this is the Prophecy. He's trying to get involved in and amongst this battle as well for the final podium position. It looks like Johan is now in the lead, as it looks like Khaki and Tuscan have made a mistake somewhere along the line, have dropped down the field. Johan is currently in 1st as we come through this long left-handed hairpin. I wonder what happened between the two leaders. Possibly a little bit of contact and pushing each other wide. Mangator is in 2nd and I'm not entirely sure who is in 3rd. Khaki's in 4th. I believe that is Tuscan in 5th position. So the Prophecy's gone on, slipped himself up into 3rd place as we currently follow Khaki at the moment, currently holding 4th position. A little bit of drama already here in this early stages of this second round. It's going to be very, very costly unless Khaki can make his way back up through the field. There is Tuscan in 5th position, just confirming that they must have had a coming together somewhere along the line into the double right-hander. And yeah, I've slipped down a number of positions down into 4th and 5th. See if these two guys can make their way back up through the field into the top 2 steps of the podium, or perhaps not. Maybe they will get blocked and maybe Mangator and Johan will be able to hold these two guys off. I believe it's Johan and Mangator holding 1st and 2nd position respectively, with the Prophecy in 3rd and Khaki right underneath his rear wing as we come onto the start-finish straight. Surely Khaki will pick up the slipstream of the Prophecy down this start-finish straight and into turn 1. We'll probably have a move. He's moving to the right-hand side to take the inside line. Both of them jumping on the brakes, and the Prophecy is giving Khaki room. I believe Khaki will probably hang all the way around on the inside curb, and yes, he does indeed slip up into 3rd, which is going to release Khaki as he's got a little bit of breathing room, not much, probably just under a second to his two teammates in front of him. But that's going to be key for Khaki, as it means that Tuscan has now got to try and get past the Prophecy to follow Khaki through. I believe Khaki will probably try and now put the hammer down and see if he can close the gap to the guys in front of him. You can already see a gap starting to form behind to the Prophecy in 4th place. There you can see the current standings as SDL Mangator and Johan are having a swap of position here. Mangator moving himself up into 1st place. Johan just letting him go through, not really fighting the position too much, but is hanging on to the rear of his bumper very, very closely. And this has allowed Khaki to get right up onto the back of this leading battle. It also looks like Tuscan's having a little bit of a look down the inside of the Prophecy here. Prophecy having to give him room as Tuscan poked his nose in. Tuscan is swinging his car very far out wide to possibly try and get a switchback on the Prophecy. However, he's gone a little bit too far out and has lost an awful lot of ground given the position back. He's got a fairly decent run here though, coming down into the next braking zone. He's going to go for the inside move once again, both of them jumping on the brakes at the same time. Tuscan hooking up the inside curb, the Prophecy giving him room, and I believe Tuscan is now going to slip himself up into 4th place, but Prophecy is still going to try and fight the position, going to try and come back of him into this next left-hander who's got the inside line, but it looks like Tuscan shut the door on him a little bit. There may have been a little bit of contact between the two drivers, I couldn't quite see, but we've now got Khaki having a look at Johan coming up into the penultimate corner. He's going to try and slip himself up into second place here. Johan is just going to get on the brakes a little bit earlier than Khaki and just let him slide on through, but he is going to hold on to the back of him, trying to avoid losing as much time as possible. He's just right underneath the rear wing, right on the rear bumper. Khaki moving over to the right hand side as it looks like Johan's had a fantastic exit, and it's now a pure drag race down towards turn 1. Khaki will have the inside line, but will Johan try and hang it around the outside and battling for second position and come very, very close to making contact there as Johan turned in. Khaki may be carrying a little bit too much speed into that first turn, but Khaki just about managing to hold on to second position for now. Johan is pressuring him, trying to get right underneath the rear wing, pick up the slipstream. He's now going for the inside move down in towards turn 3. Will he be able to pull it off as the camera pans round and snaps now? We can see him, they're going side by side through turn 3 and now into turn 4. It looks like Johan's going to try and perform a little bit of an undercut here and the switchback manoeuvre on Khaki, but Khaki gets a good exit, getting on the throttle and picking it up nice and early, which has gone and negated that advantage that Johan would have had. But he's now making that inside move, diving down the inside as we come into the next braking zone of this double left-hander. Khaki just about giving him enough racing room, Johan giving him enough racing room on the exit there as well. Still side by side now. This is allowing Tuscan to get right up onto the back onto this battle for second position. Is playing very, very nicely into his hands, and he's now pressuring the back of Johan. May have been a little bit of a push there coming out the exit of that corner as Khaki has now looked like he's pulled out a car length or two over Johan. We've still got Mangator out in first position, possibly pulling away a little bit from this little battle, and we can see here Tuscan is very, very eager to try and slip himself up into third position and take that place away from Johan. Johan moving over to the right hand side to defend the inside line. Tuscan trying to go around the outside. They both make contact, rubbing wheel to wheel. It's going to make them both go deep in the braking zone. This has allowed Prophecy to get up onto the back of them and try and get into this battle as well, try and get involved and see if he can take third position away from these two drivers as they go hammer and tongs. I imagine SDL Johan is probably trying to play a little bit of a team game here and trying to hold up Tuscan as much as possible to try and allow Khaki to get as much breathing room and try and get basically secure the win for this February Go4 final, as it looks like Johan was going a little bit defensive there on the inside. Tuscan taken to the grass and also the curb on the inside. He's on the outside coming through the final corner, however. Will Johan give him room on the exit? Yes, he does just about, but Tuscan slips in underneath the rear wing, trying to pick up the slipstream now as we come over the start finish straight to start lap 4. He's going to go for the inside move, coming down in towards turn 1. How much of a squeeze will Johan give him? Johan braking very, very late, running a little bit deep there, just about giving enough racing room for Tuscan on the inside, and I believe Tuscan has now slipped himself up into third position, but they're still going door to door, wheel to wheel action, side by side as we come now down towards turn 3. Johan squeezing Tuscan over to the right hand side of the circuit. Tuscan's going to be on the outside for this next corner. Will he be able to pull the move off, or will he try and perform a little bit of a switchback? For now he just tucks in behind Johan and follows him through turn 3 and now in through turn 4, trying to pick up a good exit as Johan runs the curb on the exit. So does Tuscan. Prophecy is there just behind these two as now Tuscan is trying to look for the inside line, coming down into the braking zone of this next right hander. Johan getting very, very late on the brakes. He's actually gone and locked the front wheel as well and ran deep into the corner. This has allowed Tuscan to slip up on the inside into the second part of this right hander, slipping himself up into third position. Johan has lost the place for now, but it looks like he's actually coming back at Tuscan, trying to get on the inside for the exit of that long left hander. He does so. Still side by side action as we come into the next turn. Johan eking out just ahead, trying to push Tuscan out a little bit wider and try and secure that position. It looks like he's pulled that move off very, very nicely without making contact. The Prophecy there still lurking behind these two, trying to get involved in the action and trying to pick up any advantage that he can gain, as Tuscan is now actually coming back at Johan, trying to go around the outside as Johan defends that inside line, holding the curb all the way around the long right-handed hairpin, and it looks like he's still holding third position at the moment. The Prophecy having a little bit of a look at Tuscan, as we can see there in the foreground. Khaki is closing up onto the back of Mangator for the lead of this race. Johan running an awful lot of curb on the inside here. Constant action between these guys in this second round. At some point I'm going to need to take a breath and try and regain it so we can continue, as Tuscan's trying to go around the outside now into the penultimate corner of Johan, but it doesn't quite work out for him. He's now going to tuck him behind, following him through the final corner here onto the start finish straight to start lap 5, I believe, Very, very intense stuff as Johan's giving him a squeeze, trying to push Tuscan all the way over to the right hand side of the track, trying to make the inside turn very, very tight for him as he jumps over to the left, trying to open it up for himself. Tuscan's still there on the inside. I believe Johan is just about in front, but now coming out through the exit, they're going to be side by side once again, and there's going to be again another drag race as we come down towards turn 3. These guys getting very, very close to each other, trying to squeeze and give each other as little room as possible while still leaving just about enough of a car whips between them to avoid making contact. Johan still holding on to third position just for the moment. Tuscan holding in fourth with Prophecy still there lurking behind him. I imagine he's probably just waiting for contact between the two drivers as Tuscan looks like it went out a little bit wide there and dipped the wheels out onto the gravel on the exit curb, which wouldn't have helped him. Now coming into this next double right-hander, Johan managing to get the car slowed down this time and hooking up the apex. He's a little bit shy here for the second part as it looked like Tuscan was able to hook up a little bit better and run a little bit more curb on the inside. Both of them taking a very, very nice flowing line through that long left-hander as it looks like Tuscan is still trying to pressure, get very, very close to the back of Johan's car as it came through the apex of that next corner. Jumping up to the lead battle now, we can see here Khaki is trying to get onto the back and see if he can make a move past Mangator at the moment. Mangator going a little bit defensive into this right-handed hairpin, trying to hold Khaki off at the moment. Now jumping back to the battle for third as Tuscan's trying to go around the outside of Johan into this long right-hander. You can see there the difference between these two battles in terms of the gap is probably a good 4 or 5 seconds at the moment. And once again, you can just see in the foreground that Khaki is still right underneath the rear wing of Mangator. Johan is still holding into third with Tuscan right behind him in fourth. He's got a pretty good exit coming out of that right-handed sequence there. The little left and right, he's got the outside line for the penultimate corner though as Johan goes defensive, trying to hold the inside line. Coming into the braking zone now there, Tuscan trying to hold it around the outside. He's going to have the inside line for this final corner. Will he be able to pull the move off? Both of them running door to door. They're going to be pushed out wide. This has allowed Prophecy to take full advantage and slip himself up into third place, which is exactly what he's done. Johan still holding on to fourth. Prophecy diving over to the right hand side to try and break the slipstream, but Johan following over. Tuscan doesn't really bother to do so for the moment, is now back down in fifth. He's gone and lost 2 positions just from trying to gain that 1 place and try and slip himself up into the podium. This is costing him dearly in this round as Khaki is pulling away off in the distance and only helping to secure his win for this February final as Tuscan is actually going to try and make a move down the inside of Johan coming into turn 3. Will he be able to make the move off? Johan giving him a bit of a squeeze, not really giving him too much room on the inside there. Tuscan having to back out of the move for the moment, following him through turn 4 and now coming down towards the double right hander of turn 5 and 6. Will he be able to make a lunge down the inside? No, it doesn't look like he's just going to follow him through for the moment as Prophecy is holding on to third. Johan is closing back up onto the rear of Prophecy's GT4. The Prophecy playing a very nice patient strategy, waiting for these two guys to make a mistake as he actually goes and makes a mistake in himself as he runs a little bit deep there through that left-handed hairpin. I believe there may have been a little bit of contact between Johan and also the Prophecy. The Prophecy running deep once again through here. He could potentially lose both positions. He's certainly going to lost third at the moment to Johan, and the Tuscan is now trying to get a little bit of a switchback coming down this straight. He's going to have a good exit coming out of here. Tuscan's got the inside for the next corner as well, and that could have been very, very costly for the Prophecy, who's now trying to come back at Tuscan a little bit into the braking zone as Tuscan managed to slip himself back up into 4th position before they actually get into the braking zone for that previous corner. Johan now back up in 3rd and the battle resumes to how it was only a lap ago. So much drama and so much action has come in from this second round as all the pressure has been placed by Khaki on Mangator. He's trying to get himself back up into the lead of this race. So much pressure is now being applied to Tuscan as well because he's the one who needs the result. He needs the win for this race to make it a point tie break to try and get that first position prize of €100 as we've got Khaki here making a move down the inside of Mangator into this first turn. Mangator giving him plenty of room but trying to hang it around the outside still. Will Mangator be able to hold and defend his lead as we now come side by side out through the very little kink of turn 2? It looks like Mangator still just about holding position ahead of Khaki, who probably had to back out the throttle a little bit mid corner through turn 1. Mangator's got the inside line for turn 3 though. However, Khaki is still trying to go around the outside. He's going to have the inside for turn 4. Will Khaki be able to take the position away from Mangator? And yes, he does. He slips himself up into 3rd and Mangator tucks in behind Khaki. Once again, he's going to follow him down into the braking zone for this double right-hander. Will he make a lunge down the inside and try and make the position back, or will he just follow him through for now? It looks like he's just going to follow him through for the moment, as we've got Johan here going defensive to Tuscan, and also the Prophecy. I believe it's the Prophecy who's out on 4th position at the moment. He's squeezing Tuscan onto the inside curb in the first part of that double right-hander. They're going to go side by side into the second part, and then probably once again coming into this left-handed hairpin. Johan starting to eke out a couple of car lengths between these two guys, and I believe the Prophecy is still holding on to 4th place, keeping Tuscan behind him. Tuscan really needs to get past these two guys and try and clear the both and try and pull away and see if he can close up on the gap to Mangator if he's going to have any chance of coming away with the win for this round. The Prophecy still holding in 4th. We've only got 9 laps to go, so he hasn't got a huge amount of time to actually do it. These guys are really locked into a fierce battle here in this second round of this ESL Go4 PC Cup final. And I'm locked into a little bit of a dilemma because I want both this racing to continue, but I do also want a little bit of a moment to be able to take my breath back, as these guys are really showing what esports sim racing is all about at its finest level. These guys really going for it, providing some great racing action, as it looks like Tuscan's going to try and make a move down into the inside of the Prophecy, coming into the second to last corner. The Prophecy trying to hold it around the outside. He's going to have the inside for the final corner here, and it looks like he's pulled off a very nice defensive move as Tuscan gets very close, getting a very good run coming out the back of the final corner down the start finish straight now. Tuscan currently holding 4th place, but the Prophecy is going to have the inside line coming into turn 1. Both of them getting very late on the brakes. Both of them still able to hook up the inside curb though, and are following through this long right-hander of turn 1. Now onto the very small kink left turn 2. Johan has got a couple of car lengths between Tuscan and himself in 3rd position, and he's quite far now behind the lead battle of Mangator and Khaki. Diego is currently still running in 6th position, is dropping off behind these guys. He doesn't seem to quite have the pace as we currently hold and watch Tuscan as he comes through turn 4, now down on the short straight towards turn 5 and 6. I don't think he's quite close enough to the back of Johan to make a lunge, but it looks like Johan has had a little bit of a moment there in the braking zone. His front inside wheel under rotating as he locks it slightly. This has allowed Tuscan to close right up onto the back of his car as he's following through these sequence of corners. The Prophecy is still there holding on to the back of these guys, once again waiting and lurking for any mistakes that these two guys make. As we come into this left-hander now, it looks like that the Prophecy was actually a little bit shy there of the apex, running a little bit wide. Tuscan still pressuring the back of Johan's car as we now come down this straight. Johan moving over to the right hand side to try and defend the inside line. Tuscan following him in the slipstream. He's going to move over to the left to try and take it around the outside, running a little bit deep there. That's not going to quite work for him. He's going to come back in though in the latter part of this corner. Gets very close to the rear of Johan's Ginetta as we come into the braking zone, the uphill braking zone for the left-hander, then into the right that follows it, leading up the hill, up towards the final 2 corners. Looks like Tuscan's got a pretty good run, using an awful lot of curb there on the exit of that right-hander. Johan going very defensive once again, staying over to the left hand side to defend the inside line, forcing Tuscan to try and make it around the outside. Tuscan doesn't quite pull alongside enough to try and get the inside for this final turn. Instead he's going to follow him through and try and line up a good exit. He's going to the outside now, getting pushed out wide onto the exit curb, and there's now once again a drag race as they go side by side down towards turn 1, coming into the braking zone. Who's going to be the latest of the late breakers? It looks like that Tuscan is going to brake much later, is going to run much deeper into the first turn. Is going to try and come back at Johan in this latter part of this first turn. Now coming through turn 2, tucking underneath the rear wing, getting very close to the rear bumper. Johan once again wanted to try and defend the inside line, trying to force Tuscan to go to the inside, but Tuscan's trying to look at the inside, had to switch back there to the outside once again. Coming into turn 3, these guys aren't quite going side by side. Tuscan now trying to perform a little bit of a switchback. Will he be able to pull it off into this next right-hander? For the moment it doesn't look like he's quite close enough to make it work, but he's going to have a decent exit coming out of here. Johan once again going defensive into the inside for turns 5 and 6. Tuscan braking very late, possibly pushing and shoving Johan a little bit on the rear bumper. Tuscan actually running deep in the corner and running out wide into the gravel there, but he's just about managed to get away with it as we follow him through now, hooking up the inside curb very tightly in the long left-hander there. Johan running a very, very nice smooth line. There's not much between these two guys as Johan runs a little bit deep. This has allowed Tuscan to get right onto the outside into this next right-hander. He's going to follow him through, trying to perform a little bit of a switchback and try and line himself up with a good exit coming down this straight into the next braking zone. Tuscan is trying to go look for the inside line, but Johan squeezing him over to the right-hand side, try and make the corner as tight as possible as he darts over to the left to open himself up for this corner. Johan's going to have to try and hang it all the way around the outside though, as they once again go side by side, getting very, very close as they go wheel to wheel on the drag race down towards this next left-hander. Johan's on the inside, Tuscan's on the outside. He isn't going to be able to hang it around the outside for the inside on that next right-hander as they get once again tucked in behind Johan as we come up the hill now towards the last two corners. The Prophecy is still not too far behind these guys, having an absolutely fantastic view of this battle as Tuscan tries to go around the outside here into the second to last corner. It isn't going to be able to quite work as Johan is putting up an almighty defence, trying to hold on to that final podium spot and keep Tuscan behind him. All the while, Khaki and Mangator have disappeared way off into the distance somewhere up the road. And even still, this battle was raging on as Johan's going defensive to Tuscan coming into the first turn. Tuscan once again looking to the outside as Johan hooks up the inside curve, trying to hold it and hug it very, very tight to the corner. He's now moving out wide to try and give Tuscan a little bit of a squeeze as we come through turn 2. Tuscan has now slipped himself just up into third position. These guys coming very, very close as we come down this straight down towards turn 3 in the braking zone. Johan is this time on the outside. He's not in a position that he wants to be in. Tuscan has pretty much got the move done and dusted, I believe, up into third place. Will he be able to hold Johan off as Johan is trying to counter him and trying to come back? His next best opportunity is going to be into the braking zone of this double right-hander here. We've seen him be very, very late on the brakes before. Tuscan being very late on the brakes as well, running a little bit deep there. This could give potentially Johan the opportunity to get very, very close to the back of Tuscan's car as they come through these sequence of corners into this next left-hander. Both of them still holding station for the moment. Of Prophecy still lurking behind. He's closed the gap back up to these guys now. He did drop off initially, but this continuing battle has allowed him to close back up onto these two guys and see if we can make it a three-way fight for third position. And it looks like Tuscan at the moment has started to eke a couple of car lengths out as he moves over to the right hand side of the circuit to try and force Johan off the racing line to follow him in the slipstream. You can see here Khaki and Mangator in first and second position. Mangator still holding on to the back of Khaki as we come down towards the last 5 laps of this race. We've got 6 laps to go at the moment, and coming into the second to last corner now, just a couple of car lengths between these two guys. There isn't much. Jumping back to Tuscan in third position, you can see the gap there between these two battles as Johan is currently in fourth, Prophecy there in fifth, and somewhere behind them will be Diego. And yeah, we've got 5 laps to go between these guys. Now starting, I believe, probably lap 11. There is Diego in 6th position. His fastest lap, I believe, is a 2:08. He looks like he's got a little bit of damage there to the front of his car, possibly having a spin somewhere along the line, or maybe hitting one of the tyre stacks actually that are on the inside of the corner, as I noticed they were missing on a couple of corners. And yeah, that could have put a little bit of damage to the front of his Ginetta. There we can see Prophecy in 5th, and this battle for 3rd position has spaced out a little bit now. There's a few car lengths between each of the drivers. Johan is currently still in 4th, possibly trying to hold on to the back of Tuscan, as Tuscan's now trying to work and try and pull out a gap to Johan and see if he can. Well, he's not going to be able to close up to the guys in front there, way too far up the field. As Johan once again goes a little bit deep there, missing the apex on the inside of that double right-hander. And that's going to cost him a little bit of time and compromise his line slightly coming through the subsequent turns. But even still, he does a good job of hooking up the apexes through those. And then he's about half a metre shy there through that left-hander, then also the right-hander as well. The Prophecy behind him, hooking up a much neater and tidier line. And this could be allowing Tuscan to pull away. You can see he's certainly visually extending the gap between himself and also Johan. And here we can see Mangator is still on the back of Khaki, just a couple of car lengths between the two. And I believe the Mangator actually finished in 3rd position in the previous race. So there you can see the results. They're currently on lap 11, now starting lap 12. So best part of 3 entire laps to go. Or should I say 4 entire laps? It'll be 3 in a bit. But yeah, I believe Mangator finished in 3rd position in the previous race, which would be quite interesting because that's the position that Tuscan's in at the moment. And if it currently finishes in the current standings, as Mangator gets pretty close there to the back of Khaki in the braking zone for turn 3, he's just going to follow him through though, through the sequence of corners by the looks of it. Yeah, he does for the moment. But yeah, I was going to say, if the guys finish in the current positions that they're in, obviously Khaki will come away with the overall win for this PC final, as Mangator once again gets pretty close and looks pretty threatening to the back of Khaki. I kind of want to carry on this point, but I feel like there could potentially be a battle developing between these two drivers at the moment for the lead of this race. And if it does, I obviously want to cover that. But I also want to cover the fact, yeah, if they finish where they are at the moment, it'll be Khaki taking away 1st position, and it'll be a tie between Tuscan and Mangator in overall points in this final. I believe Johan will be in 4th, and Prophecy and Diego in 5th and 6th position. But yeah, if it comes to a tie points breaker, it'll be, well, I guess fastest laps of the race. That could only really be the next thing that determines it, unless you want to go by qualifying positions. I'm not entirely sure how ESL has put this into their rules, as I don't think we've actually had this scenario before. And there we can see Tuscan in 3rd position, still extending that gap to Johan behind him, but he's well off the back of this gap, this battle here. And yeah, interesting question that's just popped into my mind. Will Khaki let Mangator slip past into 1st position and take the win for this 2nd round? If that happens, Khaki will still win the final overall, as he will have the most points, having a 1st and 2nd. Mangator will then get 2nd place in the overall final, having a 3rd and a 1st, whereas Tuscan would drop down into 3rd position with a 2nd and 3rd. So will Khaki play the team game here and actually let Mangator go through to take the win and give SDL a 1-2 in this February final? Or will Khaki hold station and basically force Mangator to try and get past, and then it become a tie on points between Mangator and Tuscan in the final? So very, very interesting question. Something that could develop over the next couple of laps in this final stages of this 2nd round of the ESL Go4 Cup final. And at the moment, it looks like Khaki doesn't really intend to let Mangator past. Khaki's shown some really, really good pace, especially in the previous round. Came under threat a little bit from Tuscan, but after a very small initial battle, Khaki was able to break away and then pull and extend that gap. But it's not quite happening here, as Mangator is still holding onto the back of Khaki's car quite nicely. There's only a car length or 2 between them. So Mangator just following Khaki around. I don't know whether Khaki's pushing 100% or whether he's just backed off a little bit. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, these guys are doing very, very quick lap times. They're doing 2:05.6 for Mangator. I haven't seen Khaki's fastest lap so far, as both guys use the curb on the outside there on the entry to the corner to try and open it up a little bit more before actually turning in. Both of them taking a very smooth flowing line through turns 1, and then turn 2 is not really existent, to be honest. And coming now through turn 3 and then into turn 4. Mangator still at the moment just holding station behind Khaki, possibly just trying to wait for a mistake in these last 2 laps. On lap 14 out of 15 at the moment. They come through the double right-hander now. And both of them, again, taking very neat and tidy lines. And Mangator is still there lurking, waiting patiently. Will Khaki let him through in the next lap and a half to let Mangator take the win and let SDL come away with a 1-2 finish in this final? Or will Khaki currently hold position and force it to a tie in terms of points between Mangator and Tuscan? That is the real big question that's playing on my mind at the moment. And I'm not too sure what you guys think. Let me know down in the comment section below if you think these guys should swap positions before the end of this race, or whether Khaki should come away with the win. As we see there, Tuscan has pulled away from Johan. Johan's got the prophecy there, still just behind him by a car length or two. So Johan showing he hasn't quite got the pace that Tuscan does for the moment. He's probably focusing on the prophecy behind him, looking in the rearview mirrors, which naturally slows a driver down. As both these guys come into the first turn, braking very, very late into the first turn, but taking some nice, smooth, flowing lines. It looks like Mangator was a little bit tighter there on the exit of this first turn of this final lap as well, I should point out. So we're coming into the closing stages there. Mangator just presenting himself in the wing mirror of Khaki coming into turn 3. They're getting pretty close actually, coming through turn 3, now coming into turn 4, but it looks like that Mangator is holding station at the moment behind Khaki. Will Khaki actually let him through before the end of this lap? He's not got too long to go before the end of this race, as Mangator gets pretty close there to the back of Khaki's car. Coming through the double right-hander, Khaki flashing the brakes, pumping that brake pedal on and off a couple of times. So now coming to the long left-handed hairpin there, and then into this next left-right before dropping down the hill into the right-handed hairpin. The guys just flowing through, following each other at the moment. There isn't much room, or so I say, much time left now for Khaki to let Mangator go through. So it'll be interesting to see if it happens, if it does happen at all before the end of this race. It'll probably be the best thing for SDL, and it'll allow Mangator to come away with second place and both of these guys to finish with the prize money of €100 for first place and then €50 for second in this final. Mangator getting a pretty decent exit there, coming up towards this second to last corner. Will he try and make a move down the inside and see if he can slip himself up into first and try and secure second position in this final? Looks like the Khaki's holding his line for the moment, and Mangator's going to follow him through. Same again, coming through the final turn, and it's going to be Khaki who's going to come away with the win here in round 2 and the overall win in this February final, with Mangator in second. Tuscan now coming through the penultimate corner into the final turn now to come away and take third. He'll be joint second with Mangator in terms of points in the overall standings for this final. And then it's SDL Johan is going to come away in fourth position, with the prophecy coming away in fifth, wasn't able to slip himself up into fourth. And then here is Diego in the final position, sixth place, now coming up the hill towards the second to last corner with a little bit of damage to his car, which is probably affecting his lap times and costing him more time than it would if he didn't have the damage. Now coming into the final turn and out through the exit to complete this second round, which means that Khaki, like I said, is going to come away with the February Go4 PC Cup final win. He'll come away with the maximum prize money of €100 for this final, and then both Mangator and Tuscan are going to be points tied for second place in this final. And I can reveal now that one additional point to break this tie has been awarded to Mangator to take second place in this February final, and that was given for having more consistent, faster lap times which of course does mean that the points tie has been broken and Mangator will come away with second position in the final and the €50 prize money. So then, what can I say other than that was an absolutely fantastic second round. So very intense battling between a number of the guys, really showing how competitive this ESL Go4 Cup really is and showing the world what esports sim racing is all about. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a rating. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave those down in the comment section below. But otherwise, thank you very much for tuning in, and once again apologies that this video came a lot later than it should have, but hopefully we can continue to provide the ESL action in the future. Unfortunately, I missed out on the March finals, but I shall make sure to provide the coverage and the action for you guys for the subsequent finals after that one from April onwards. I've been Yorkie, thank you very much for watching guys, hopefully I shall see you soon, take care.